James, we need to solemnly swear, because I personally, I solemnly swear to not use the terms other than once that I'm about to say now, superposition
Yep.
or entanglement
Yep.
throughout the course of this podcast.
There's a few other, like qubits.
I think we might need to say qubit, unfortunately. The term qubit will be used.
Okay, but superposition and entanglement,
They're out.
We're going to try to avoid. No nerd crap on this podcast, you know?
We're talking about quantum computing. Is it real? What's the deal with quantum
What's the deal with quantum computing? And there's a bit of it in the air, and we want to talk about the vibes. We're a vibes podcast.
Yeah.
If you've come here to learn how quantum computing works or develop any insight into how it might be executed on a technical level, log the hell off.
No.
But we're reading the vibes because there's a bunch of like fun stuff and goofy stuff happening with quantum computing at the moment.
Indeed.
People are into it.
We should probably give at least some parameters.
All right, fine.
The promise of quantum computing, and here's how I understand it. Huge disclaimer. I am not a physicist. I do not I do not have a PhD. I'm not a doctor in physicism.
No. You've never claimed that. You've claimed other doctorships.
Yeah, popular culture in Australia from 1880 to 1930.
What happened in those years, roughly?
Excuse me, it was the birth of the cinema, the Kelly Gang. That was popular. You go down and you watch the Kelly Gang.
You'd go down to Nickelodeon and watch the Kelly Gang. Yeah.
That was highly popular.
Yep.
Gambling and sport. Next question. How does quantum computing work? Very broadly, what the promise of quantum computing is, because of like probability crap, in the quantum state, things act differently. So when you ask it like a question, all of the answers exist, and you just need to nudge the computer in the direction of like, yeah, but give me the right one out of all of those probabilities that exist. That is supposedly very good for things like, the classic thing is something that a classical computer, that's what they call like what I would call a computer.
I'm going to start calling it a classical computer just to make people think that I've got bigger ideas.
Yeah. So a classical computer, for example, if you gave a classical computer two big numbers, huge numbers. This is how cryptography works, by the way, folks. If you gave it two huge numbers and said, what are the common factors of these two huge numbers? As in, like, if you don't know what factors are, like you times two numbers together and it equals one number, blah, 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 blah. And you keep going down and down and down. Like a typical computer, if you gave it like a number with 1,000 numbers after it, like a 1 with 1,000 numbers after it, could take 1 billion years to work that out. Whereas a quantum computer, because it has all those numbers in an uncertain state, I'm not going to use and this, folks, is called a superposition. Oh, damn it! Then it can just like do it much quicker.
Yeah.
But, and this is again outlining the thing, it is very good at tasks like that. A single discrete task, one complex task like that, a quantum computer supposedly can do that way better than a classical computer.
Yeah. Another way to think about it is that, the base unit of a modern classical computer is that it all comes down to essentially on and off switches.
Ones and zeros.
Ones and zeros. Is it on? Is it off? A qubit, which is like the base unit of a quantum computer, is that every one of those little positions can be on or off, or both, or neither. They can also affect all the other qubits around them.
Yeah.
All you need to know is it's a different way of approaching computers, which for certain tasks could be phenomenally more powerful.
Yeah, cool. That's fundamentally what the promise of quantum computing is.
So when someone talks about quantum computing, that's broadly what they're referring to. But the reason it's sort of come up a lot recently, and you've heard about it a lot, if you're in Australia, you may have heard the other day that our government just made a almost $1 billion investment in PsiQuantum, which is a quantum computing startup. We're going to get into that. But the reason you're probably hearing about a lot more is there's a few things, but kind of like the core thing is we are getting up to the limits, at least we think so, of what classical computers can do. And not just in terms of like processing power. You've heard us on episodes before where we've talked about basically Moore's law and coming to its end, the idea that there's really only so much processing power you can wrangle out of the silicon chip because they can only get so small.
Yeah, the little transistors, the on-off switches can only get so small.
We're now at 3 nanometer chips, as we've talked about. 2 nanometer is the next goal. But even at the level that we're now operating at, one thing that chip manufacturers are running into is basically
Quantum entanglement.
It's quantum entanglement, unfortunately.